Hello everyone, and welcome to Biopedia. Back to ecology we go in today's episode, with a discussion of some UK-specific legislation about protected species and its consequence in terms of an example species. Get ready to talk about dormice. Dormice can be split into two species when it comes to the United Kingdom. The first is a native species, the common or hazel dormouse, with the Latin name Muscardinus avellinarius. The second is the non-native edible dormouse, or gliss. Dormice enjoy protection under the Wildlife and Countryside Act of 1981, as well as the Conservation Regulations of 1994. You are not allowed to capture, disrupt, hurt or kill dormice, or harm the areas where they rest or breed. Dormice were added to the list of species you can't disrupt inside or outside of nests, except if a license is obtained from the Nature Conservancy Council in 1988. If development is going to have an unlawful impact, you can either not do it at all, try to minimize your likelihood of doing something illegal by sticking to best practices on when and how to continue, or get a license. In applying for a license, you must show there is a particular reason for what you're doing, often being a need of the public which supersedes other concerns, or else a similar conservation concern. You must also show there is no other way forward and that the species in question will not have its conservation impacted. Let's now turn from development licenses to individual licenses. In the context of hazel dormice, you need something called a disturbance license if you're going to be looking into a dormouse box and there's a possibility it's being used by a dormouse at the time you open it. To get a license, you need 2 referees who already have such a license. These 2 individuals must not be part of the same organisation and need to have held the license for a minimum of 3 years. If you're doing extra things such as taking clippings of fur, you will need at minimum 1 additional referee. The People's Trust for Endangered Species recommends taking a course on the ecology and conserving of dormice, which lasts a day. You then need to find someone already in possession of a hazel dormouse license who can give you training on monitoring dormouse boxes. Once you have your license, renewal is automatic provided you answer a natural England email. This annual email is distributed at the start of the year and essentially checks your license is still valid. You need to have undertaken submission of dormouse records during this time. The UK government notes that you can get a license in the category of surveys or researching in the context of hazel dormice. This permits you to handle dormice and is inclusive of interacting with dormice in their nests, in nest boxes or nest tubes. At this juncture, we should talk about nest boxes and nest tubes. This is because we can't just use this term during the course of our discussion without actually reflecting on what they mean. To do that, we need to go back to the 1990s with the publication of a seminal paper by Morris et al. This study pointed out that dormice were noted to use bird boxes every now and then. Bird boxes had made rare birds in forests more common. For this reason, the study wanted to test the idea that the density of dormice might increase in areas where nest boxes were put up for them. The Mammal Society had previously noted that dormice were rare, and it was possible they could disappear from 7 of their previous counties. Hence, you can see an obvious incentive to carry out this study. In 1982, 24 boxes were built and placed with the opening facing into the tree to discourage bird usage. Essentially, this was a bird box repurposed to study dormice. These boxes were placed in a region where dormice were known to be, in 4 hectares of land in Somerset. Most of these boxes were made of elm wood and had dimensions on the inside of 11.5 by 13 by 12 centimeters. 71 boxes were put out in total, distributed between 2 study areas about 0.84 and 1.2 hectares in area. There were 2 control areas of about the same size. The study obtained a license for its activities as per the 1981 Wildlife and Countryside Act. Boxes were in rows separated by about 20 meters, with 10 meters between individual boxes. In under a year, 2 nests of dormice were detected, with 6 dormice found in 1983. More boxes were then put out in order to determine if density increased as a result. The study also asked whether dormice used the boxes, if there were some box arrangements they liked better, and if some boxes resulted in easier access to dormice from the perspective of researchers without harming them. In November of 1987, the two study areas had 59% and 53% of the boxes being employed by dormice. 28 dormice were caught during the course of the study, with 19 of these being in areas with boxes and 9 in areas without. Boxed areas had more dormice. Morris et al. Is noted in subsequent literature as the first experiment to use nest boxes. Nest tubes, by contrast, were designed years after nest boxes. Although also being used now for hazel dormice, their original purpose was to help catch and control edible dormice, which, remember, are not a species native to the UK. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Feel free to reach out at the show's email address for any questions, comments, or topic suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, have a great week, everyone.